This is Kat with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make the Marrakesh market earrings. Now in this video I'm going to show you how to wire wrap a gemstone briolette here. I'm also going to show you how we can hole punch a Nunn design flat tag to create a nice little connector. And the other components that I'm going to be working with here is I have some 4mm Swarovski bicones, and these are in a beautiful white opal color. I have some oval jump rings. These are 4x6mm 20 gauge. And I have some 22 gauge 2-inch eye pins. And I have some beautiful Nunn design hooks here. Now the wire that we're going to use is going to be artistic wire, and today I'm using the tarnish resistant silver in a 26 gauge wire. So those are the components that we're going to be working with. The tools that we have for today, we have a hole puncher, which I'm going to show how to use. I have some files here in case that hole punch gets a little sharp on me. And then I have a round nose plier, a wire straightening plier, some flush cutters, and a chain nose plier. So if you have all of your components ready, we're ready to begin. All right, so we're going to start by taking our artistic wire, and we're going to start by doing that briolette here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take about 10 inches or so off of my wire. So I'm just going to come in with my flush cutter and just trim that off. Now I'm going to take my wire straightening pliers and just give it a nice little straighten there, just to kind of unbend it a little bit. It'll still have a bend in it, but that's okay. There we go, just a little straighter. All right, so now I'm going to take that wire and I'm going to thread it through the hole of the briolette. Now a briolette has that nice little side drilled hole towards the top of our little kind of teardrop shape there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it down until it's about 2/3 of the way down my wire. And then I'm going to come over the top and just sort of bend it with my fingers, kind of bringing that closer and sort of bringing it across the way there. And now I'm going to do the same with the other side, just kind of crisscrossing it at the top there. All right, so you can kind of tighten it down together there just a little bit. So now I have my wires sort of crisscrossed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that back wire there and just straighten it up so it looks like it's coming straight out the top, almost like a Hershey kiss. And then I'm going to take my longer wire and I'm just going to gently wrap it around the back and around again. So I get that nice little sort of little knot there at the top. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave that top piece down and I'm just going to wrap it down. And what I want to try to do is just make that wire seem like it's sitting just further and further down every time. Now there are a couple different ways where you can sort of wire wrap a briolette. This is sort of going to be a nice little messy version. I want it to look very organic. You know, you can make it nice and neat and nice and tight, but I want it to look kind of organic. So I'm just going down and then up above and then down again. Just I want to get it kind of nice and messy, you know, so it has a cool look to it. All right, so I'm going to wrap one more time, and I'm going to come around to the back here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my flush cutters and just snip it off there. And I'm going to take my chain nose pliers here and just kind of tuck that underneath there. I just want to make sure that it gets in the back. And this is where that messy wrap kind of helps. All right, so just kind of squeezing it in there. There we go. All right, so now with my piece at the top here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick it back and I'm going to make a little wire loop around the top there. And then to kind of bring it all together, I'm just going to keep wrapping until it sort of meets up with the other wire wraps that I've done so far. Now you can do a wire wrapped briolette in many different ways, but this is just showing a version of it. So again, all I need to do is just kind of bring it down there and bring it across. And then I'm going to do that same thing there. I'm going to come in with my flush cutters and give it a nice little snip. Set that aside. And then just make sure that I tuck that wire in. Just want to make sure he's nice and secure there. All right, so that is my little wire wrapped briolette there. So now we're ready to move on to connecting everything together here. So what I'm going to do is I need to make a little hole punch there at the bottom. So I'm going to take my 2-hole punch plier that I have, or sorry, this is not a plier, this is a little bit more like an anvil, but what I want to show you is on one side, and you may not be able to see this on the video, but it does say 1.5mm on one side, and then 2mm on the other side. So the 2mm one is the one that we're going to use today. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a little piece of just a sticky note here, just kind of use a little piece there. And I just want to kind of cover up where I know I want my hole to be, just to sort of help guide my little, there we go. All right, so just to help it there. Okay, oops, and it came off, there we go. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm going to get that hole right close to the bottom there. So you just sort of twist it open enough that I can fit it in there. And just make sure it's right where you want it to be. And I'm just going to gently twist it down just a little bit, just so I can kind of just make sure it's centered. I'm just going to eyeball it here from the top. There we go. And all you need to do now is we're just going to turn this top part, and it's going to kind of click down when I go through that hole. There we go. And now we're just going to reverse it so I can just take that out. And it's very easy. It doesn't require a lot of strength. You can see the edge of it just came out there. There we go. All right. So now, oops. So now I have my hole punch done there, right at the bottom. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do, and the reason I use that paper is just because you can see that I have a little extra on the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my little flush cutters and I'm just going to kind of trim that up, see if there's any little shards that I need to get rid of. And then we can come in with our little files here, and I'm going to use the yellow file. It's going to be nice and slim there, just to file away the back. This is just smoothing any of the metal shards. There we go. All right. Just a handy little tool to have if you ever do any sort of metal punching. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to take one of my oval jump rings here. And just gently give it a little twist. Hook it onto the loop of my briolette and to that loop of the bottom there. And this is why we're using those oval jump rings, so that we get a nice little sort of, oops, I need to actually open mine just a bit more. So we get a nice little sleek look there. There we go. Coming around back. And closing that up. There we go. So it has a nice little drop down, just like so. All right, so now let's get to our bicones here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my little eye pins here, and I'm going to slide a bicone onto it. Just slide it all the way down. And now, because I want it to sit a certain way, I need to make sure that the loop is going the opposite way to what it is now. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers here, and I'm going to come in so that I'm perpendicular to the loop that's on the bottom. Now I'm going to bend that back. And I'm actually going to move my pliers up a little bit, almost to halfway in my pliers, because I want to make this loop a little bit bigger to accommodate that hole there. All right, so now I'm just bending the wire up and over the top, and coming around with my plier, and coming across. All right, trimming it. And now we're ready to add this big loop here to the bottom, or this, the big loop to the top, rather, of our tag, just like so. So you see why we wanted to have a little bit of a larger loop there. And close that up. And now, all we have to do is add our earring hook. So again, just go ahead and come in to that simple wire loop up at the top. Give it a nice little kickback so that it can slide in easily there. And just close up that loop. All right, so very simple, very lovely, but now you can see why we do some of the things here. We use that oval jump ring there to accommodate some of that extra little space. And then also up here, we have that loop going the opposite way so that our earring will hang nicely. So you can just kind of see that it'll hang towards the front there. So that is how to make the Marrakesh market earrings. You can get all of these supplies and see even more videos by heading over to Beadaholique.com. beadaholique.com.